Hi everyone, welcome back. This is your weekly update for Saturday, April 24th, 2021. So how about that cold weather episode we had? We had frost, we had freeze, we had snow. I gotta say that morning after the first snowfall, I was so thankful that everything was covered in snow, which means it was insulated and didn't get any frost damage. Now the next 2 days, unfortunately, we did get a frost in the morning. Most of my plants did okay. I covered my Japanese maple, I covered some specialty hostas, but unfortunately it looks like my bleeding hearts aren't doing too well, but maybe they'll put on some new growth and look better here pretty soon. But what was really surprising is here at the nursery, I was really afraid for all of our tulips. We have 12,000 tulips here planted at the nursery, but you know what? Most of them recovered. They were covered in snow. It looked like they got frost. Some of the varieties you can tell are a little bit stronger than others. Some are still wilted now, but most of them are upright, and even those that have not bloomed yet look like they're still gonna bloom. So last week I had mentioned that we had opened the annual house, and that was very exciting. But unfortunately, I do not have the same news for our perennial house this weekend. It looks like we're still delayed. The cold weather is delaying us just a bit, but we're almost ready. Hopefully by next week sometime, I will have that news that we are gonna open the perennial house. But we did bring up a whole bunch of new plants in the first bay that are available, and I'll take you over there here in a little bit. Also this week we received more plants, more magnolias than I have ever seen before in my life. More plants came in that you've all been asking for, like sand cherry, different lilacs, the Harry Lauder's walking stick, more barberry, tons of boxwood, and a lot of oak leaf hydrangeas. Okay, so it's getting a little too windy out here for my liking, so let's head over to the perennial house because I want to show you all these awesome plants we have. Heading into the perennial house here, there's something specific I would like to show you. Now the first thing I want to talk about are these honeysuckle vines. There was some confusion. If you've been in the last couple weeks asking for them, we told you we didn't have them. Well, I think people thought we were supposed to repot them, but actually they were put in the back and they were for just regular sale. So we brought them up. They're ready to go now. We have, let's see, Drop More Scarlet, Gold Flame, Mandarin, and one called Peaches and Cream. These are really nice. They are trellised with 3 bamboo stakes. They're very tall and only $20. Across from those honeysuckles are some Ito peonies. I was looking forward to these blooming, and they sure did not disappoint. This one is called Morning Lilac. If you're not familiar with an Ito peony, it is a cross between a regular garden peony and a tree peony, but very easy to grow. And heading down the second aisle here in the first bay is a new dianthus called Georgia Peach Pie. And you know what? I come in here just to smell this flower. It smells great. So if you stop in here, be sure to give it a sniff. And heading down the aisle a little bit more, I want to talk about another dianthus, which Karen talked about in her new Perennials for 2021 video. It is a yellow. This one's called Yellow Bling Bling. She said she ordered it not only because it was yellow, but the name is pretty fancy too. Another perennial that's in here that's often underused, not well known, is a geum, a perennial geum, kind of a ground cover, doesn't get too tall. This one's called Petticoats Peach. This is a zone 5 hardy plant. It can grow from sun to part shade. But the real draw to this plant is it reblooms all summer long, and we've seen it do that in the greenhouse. Plus the flowers are very pretty. And one more new thing that arrived in here are these little conifers. You could call them alpine plants, fairy garden plants. These are all from Isley Nursery in Oregon. Now I actually just purchased this little elm. It's called Jacqueline Hillier. Grows barely 3 inches a year. I'm gonna put this in my fairy garden. But I actually ran into a customer the other day who had this in his hand, and I said, hey, where are you gonna put that? And he said, I'm gonna turn it into a bonsai. And I think that's really neat. The tag actually says it really does well with bonsai and container gardens, and it's really hardy. So I'm gonna check this one out and see how it does in my fairy garden. Okay, so I'm gonna head outside and show you all those magnolias, and then we'll make a trip into the annual house to show you everything new. So here in the big greenhouse in the middle of the property, what we call the Crabo house, next to our homegrown azaleas, are more magnolias than you've ever seen in your life. These are all smaller 1-gallon potted magnolias in every variety in the world, it seems like. They're small, they're easy to plant, they're affordable. I think most of them are maybe $30 or so. So if you want to start with a smaller plant, but maybe some kind of specialty magnolia that no one else has, I would stop in and take a look at these. We actually bought out a grower that was going out of business, and we said, hey, we'll just take the lot. But we also have a lot more larger magnolias, and I definitely want to show you Magnolia Genie, which is about to bloom. So heading down one of our Japanese maple rows, just for wayfinding purposes so you know where I am, is the larger potted magnolia section. A lot of these are budded or blooming or have bloomed already, but this is what I wanted to show you. One of my favorite trees of all time, the Magnolia Genie. Look how deep that bud is. And it opens to a flower that's just as dark as well. This tree has really nice shape, has a nice straight trunk with branches at the top. So it's great for the side of a house or near a patio. This tree also doesn't get too big, you know, maybe 10 to 15 feet tall by 5 feet wide. The Genie Magnolia also is known to rebloom later in the summer if, you know, there's no drought situation. If it gets regular water or regular rainfall, they are known to rebloom. And while I'm down here, I just have to show you this one too. It is called Elizabeth. It has gorgeous yellow flowers. This is also a tree that doesn't get huge, maybe 15 feet by 15 feet at maturity. And these flowers are slightly fragrant too. And heading into the greenhouse, I wanted to show you that we now have flats. Flats of flowers. And like I said, the veggie flats are here as well. And then opposite of those veggie flats are the herb selection. Looks like we're fully stocked on 4-inch, 3-inch potted herbs. And there are some tomato plants and pepper pots on the other side there as well. And speaking of herbs, I actually posted this on our social media. We have this toothache plant. It's actually like an old-timey medicinal herb that's actually known to numb your mouth, not only if you chew on the leaves or the flowers, if you have a toothache. Plus, one of our most requested herbs, lemongrass, is in stock. Another plant that is here in stock but goes very quickly is the Citronella plant. So not only do you like to grow it for its scent, but as you can see, it repels mosquitoes. On the next table over from those Citronella are a new shipment of Rex Begonia. Look at all these different foliage colors, leaf sizes and shapes. These can be great in a mixed container. They can take shade up to part sun. It says they can take some sun in northern climates like us. Never tried that, but they can also be a house plant. Down the ways, I'm kind of in love with this begonia. It's called Iconia. It can grow in sun or shade, moist soil. It can take dry soil. This one is just called salmon. And our first table here in the annual house, if you did not know, is our shade section. So if you have a shady spot, just stop at this table and you can find a lot of different plants that are beautiful. And if you remember a couple weeks ago, I showed you the Caladiums that came. They were still on a rack, but here they are put out on the shelf. Such varying and different foliage colors and shapes, but you gotta love a heart-shaped leaf. Well, I keep finding plants to talk about, but this one has become very popular. It's Senecio, called Angel Wings. It is perfect in a combo pot. I mean, look at it next to this Calibrachoa. It is not fussy about its soil conditions, can grow sun to part shade, but it is considered an annual, like a Zone 8 annual. And another plant for showy foliage is these assorted coleus. And just like the begonias, these can grow in sun or shade. And one more plant before I head back over. I just loved seeing these little sugar snap peas already on a little TP trellis. I thought it was just adorable. I also caught Max in the back putting together these brand new butterfly benches. They are metal and will look great in just about any garden. So I wanted to end this week on the gardening to-dos for mid to late April. Number one is it's time to start mulching. Be sure to edge those beds first because it looks a lot better when you do. We have hardwood mulch, we have pine bark mulch, and we have sweet peat as well. I personally always use the pine mulch. I just like it. It's fine, it's thin, it's little chips. And I'll tell you, after a couple years of using it, you will see a big difference in your soil. Another item on that to-do list is to spray your rhododendron, the large leaf rhododendron, and your dogwoods with Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew on May 1st, 15th, and 30th, and this actually controls borer. These plants are very susceptible to that. You can also start planting gladiolus corms, and what we suggest is to plant them every 2 weeks. So take some, plant them now, take some more, plant them 2 weeks from now, and 2 weeks from now. Not only does this stagger the bloom, but you'll have continuous bloom. And you can do this all the way up to July. Okay, so that's it for this week. I appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you'd like to see in my weekly videos, or if there's any other topics you'd like me to talk about. And also let me know if you would like a tour of the nursery, maybe once a month or once a week. Hopefully not once a week, but once a month. I can do that for you. Just let me know. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.